Good morning, folks, and welcome to another great edition of Money Truth Moments with our very own resident money whisperer, Judy Copenbarger. How are you, Judy?
I'm awesome. It's good to see you. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. And folks, we're starting a little late. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, but it's all good. It's going to be a fantastic show. So, we have a lot to cover. This is one of those shows that if you're just tuning in for the first time, you're in for a treat. If you are a regular viewer, please make sure that you share this out with your friends, family, business folks. And if you're not following Judy, please do so at judycopenbarger.com. But today we are talking about recession proofing your future. It's a huge subject, and I don't want to take any more time away from what you have to share with us, Judy. So all yours.
Okay. Well, there's so much in the news about what's going on with the economy. Some of us don't even need to tune in to know that things have changed in the last couple of years. We have a whole new world. Some things are brand new. We've never seen anything like this before. Other things have happened many, many times in the past. It's cyclical. And it's part of the economy. It moves and breathes. It goes in like the tide. It goes in, it goes out. It goes in, it goes out. So for those of us in the financial industry, it's normal to have recession and then to have the growth. And so right now we're having this constriction for many, many reasons. And it's not just political. It's just what's going on in the world. Lots of reasons. And there usually are multiple reasons. And so that's kind of where we are. So the question becomes, I'm feeling something different with my pocketbook, with my bank account, with my work situation. It's changed. How do I respond to the change in a way that really impacts my family positively? How do I deal with this new normal at my house? And that's the practical advice that I'd like to offer you. Just some things to think about, some things to consider as we're going through this new normal and you're creating your new future financially for you and your family. So let's look at a couple of things that you can do. So we're not going to talk a lot about theory today or policy or economic history. Let's just talk about what we can do when the rubber meets the road. What can you do at your house today or tomorrow or by Sunday afternoon at 5 o'clock that will really make a difference with your personal finances, with your small business? What practical things can I do? So I've made a list of just a few things that will really be able to help you. And if you just took one or two of those things, you'd probably have an impact. You'd probably feel a difference. So let's take a look at those. The first thing is when we have recession, when we have this kind of constriction, financially on the big picture, the 30,000 foot view, cash is king. And anytime you're in transition, cash is king. You're like, well, that'd be great if I had some. That'd be great for the people that do have some. But there is always a way to get cash. And I think the first thing to think about is my mindset right? Do I believe it's possible? Do I believe I can more than survive? I can actually thrive. If you don't believe that, you're probably going to be right? If you think you'll fail, you're right. If you think you'll not fail, you'll be right. So get your mindset right, and then think about what can I do to have cash. So cash is king in this transition time. So there are three ways when the ends don't meet, you run out of money before you run out of month. There are three things you can do. And we've got a great process for this. It's really three options and maybe a combination of them. But you can either earn more money, or you can spend less money, or you could sell something. That's really everything you can think of that would make a difference and change the trajectory of your cash and your cash flow is going to come from one of those three things. So you can save more money, make more money. You can spend less, cut down on expenses and sell something. So let's take a look at what you could do to save more, to earn more. Maybe it's time to think about a side hustle if you haven't before. If you've had a job that you just kind of, went to college or learned your trade and you've done your job and you never change, what else could you do? Is there a way that you could morph that into a small business? Do you have a hobby that you could turn into a business? Are you really good at making cakes? Are you really good at painting pictures? Are you really good at fixing bikes? Is there a side hustle that you can do? A lot of people this last couple of years have started driving Uber, or whatever it is. Is there a side hustle that can help you earn more to fill in the gap, even if it's temporary? What about savings? And this is where people say, yeah, great. I can't even pay my bills. Where am I going to save more? There's always some money. If it's a quarter, if it's $1, if it's $500, there's something you can do every paycheck, something you can do every month to save more. It might be a matter of looking into the free stuff. If you're employed, go to the HR, go to the payroll department and find out what benefits are there. Maybe there's a retirement program you could take advantage of, or an HSA program to help cover your healthcare costs on a tax-free basis. There might be advantages there that you just have never thought of looking into, which can help you save more, even if it's a little bit. And by savings, I don't mean put some in an account and then go rate it, when you're short. I mean, really save it. Act as though it's an expense, and consider putting yourself on your list of expenses at the beginning of every month. So you pay for your housing, you pay for your gas, you pay for your cell phone bill, you pay for all these food, all these things. Why not put yourself on the list and pay for your future as you're going through your expenses, and make yourself part of that list? So those are things that you can do to earn more, to save more. What can you do to spend less? Well, when you look at your expenses, they're either fixed or flexible. If they're fixed, that means they don't change. That's your insurance payment, that's your housing payment, your rent or your mortgage. Those are the things, maybe utilities, they don't change a whole lot, your cell phone bill, things like that. But then you have your flexible expenses. That's your expenses that you have control over. How much gas do you need to put in your tank? How much food do you need to put in your tank, right? Maybe there's a way that you could spend a little bit less in some of these areas. Do you really need 897 Cablevision channels? Maybe. Do you really need 5 different subscriptions to the movies? Maybe, but maybe not. So if there's a way to spend less, it might be possible. And one area of spending less that some people overlook, they get so frustrated thinking about credit card bills and consumer credit, which wasn't there before, but maybe because of circumstances in the last couple of years, we have debt now, consumer debt. You can always call the credit card companies and negotiate a lower interest rate. Most of the time they'll agree and they'll give you something. So instead of 29.7% interest, maybe you could pay 14 or 9 or 3 or 4, right? So you can always call and ask. Most of the time they will work with you because they want to keep your business. And that might be a way to save, $50, $100 a month. For some people, it might be several $100s a month that you save just in interest on that consumer credit. So consider paying less on things like that. Negotiate. You can always ask, what are they going to do? Say no? And chances are not all of them will say no. And then the third option, you can earn more and save more. You can spend less, or you could sell something. And I've had so many people in my world, so many clients and friends and family of clients in the last couple of years, not only wake up to what's important to them, when you have this pandemic and you have people that are ill, a lot of people that we've lost, almost all of us know someone that really did not make it through this whole pandemic. We've all been touched by this. And then our personal experiences, right? So we're starting to think about what's important. Where do I really want to live? Who do I really want in my life? What kind of work do I really want to spend my time doing? When I put my head on the pillow at night, have I really had a meaningful day doing meaningful work, spending time with meaningful people in my life? Or am I just kind of on that hamster wheel? And so many people that I've talked to have really kind of had this awakening to, what do I want to do next? What do I want to stop doing? The better question is, what should I say no to? No more. And a lot of people are moving. So they're making, this is kind of about the sell something issue, but they're moving. So they're selling their house and they're going to a different lifestyle in a different place. maybe with a different economic underpinning. I'm in Southern California here, and so the cost of living is higher on the coast, and we're at probably one of the highest spots in the country. And so it's easy to go from, paying the highest housing and everything else to, a simpler life that is less costly. So many people I know have done that. Now that would be, selling the house you live in, that's a big thing to sell. But you've got stuff in your garage, you've got stuff in your closets. It's amazing how we accumulate things. If you don't have more going out than comes in, pretty soon you end up with a house full of stuff.
Yeah.
And so, the bike that you haven't used for a while, the treadmill, maybe you take walks now and you're not riding the bike so much. You've got old DVDs and CDs. You've got appliances that you don't need anymore, or they're just sitting there getting dusty. Clothing, all kinds of things. It's amazing how your trash is someone else's treasure. It's so true. So, they have all these online ways to sell things. You just ship them out. The Venmo money comes in, you ship them out. It's a nice way to not only clean out and get ready for the new future for you, but to make some cash as well. So it might be, a garage sale. It might be selling your house. I've had so many people say, now that one or both of us are working at home and it's working out really well, we don't need 2 cars or 3 cars. So you could sell a spare car. And it's not just the money you get from the car, which right now are a premium, by the way. It's a good time to be selling used cars, not buying them. But now you have all the costs that are associated with owning a vehicle that go away, the registration and the gas and the insurances and all the maintenance. So something to think about, is there something in your life, simple or not, that you could sell? Maybe there's something you can create. If you have a trade that you're good at, woodworking, anything that you can create, or move through the marketing system where you're selling something and there's that margin of profit, think about it. There might be a hobby or a passion that you have that maybe you did way back BC, before kids. Most people would say BK, but it's, kind of back before the season that you're in, where you did something that you love doing. And maybe it's time to pick it up again. And maybe there's a way to monetize it. What if, right? What if? So those are some things: saving more, spending less, selling something, some practical things to maybe consider as you're beginning to recession proof your financial life for the next, few months, next few years, whatever this economic season is going to be for us. It's interesting. You can totally, it's a science, you can totally predict an economic season. You know how long it's going to last, what it's going to do, until you get lawmakers involved. When you get the government and the policies and the laws involved, changes everything. And so that predictability is like, I don't know, week, month, year, depends on who's in charge, what they are leaning toward, what they want to do. There's all these like outside forces that take away that predictability. But what we do know, the tide will come in, the tide will go out. The economic situation underpinnings will grow, it will constrict, it will grow, it will constrict. We just don't know the timing of the tide or the distance of the tide. Those are the two things that are a little unpredictable, particularly now with all the politics and the world changing. So hopefully that gives you some thoughts about, how to manage a storm that's coming, how to kind of take hold of that cash is king thinking. How do I get more cash? How do I keep more cash? What can I do at my house? These simple, single doable things that will help my family get to the next season. What can I do more, better, different? What can I change? Who should I talk to? All of these things hopefully will just give you like some food for thought, maybe a short little action list of things that you can do instead of complaining or whining or crying or covering up, in the bed,
Yep.
pulling the sheets up over your face. What can you do that's proactive, not reactive, to make a big difference in your financial life? That's what I wish for you. Is that helpful?
That's totally helpful. And Folks, if you're just joining us, please make sure that you watch the beginning of the show because we are talking about recession proofing your future. Just got some great advice from Judy. If you're not following Judy, please do so at judycopenbarger.com. And let's take a moment to talk about your website. Can you share with folks what they can find on your website?
Absolutely. Yeah. For some people, if you've been doing this a while, you've been doing life for a while, you've been doing money for a while, you know what works. Hard knocks is a great teacher. So, but for those of you who are younger or who are tired of getting knocked around too much, sometimes we get into this this place where we just, I've been here before. I've made this mistake before, over and over, deja vu, over and over again. I keep getting in the same mess financially. How do I not do that? Sometimes you just need a little bit different trajectory. You just need a little bit of basic knowledge of something that is not working, and now you know why. Oh, the 2x4, right? It's like, oh, because I keep doing that, I keep getting that result. So sometimes you just need to know. So judycopenbarger.com is kind of the pathway to some free information that will help you. There are helpful articles on there. There are videos on every possible, and they're short, they're short and sweet, every possible area of personal finance and small business, small ministry finance that you can imagine. And you can just click on there for 5 or 10 minutes and go, oh, it's illuminating. But I think most importantly, the judycopenbarger.com site gives you the pathway to the little green button that will take you straight to the Money, Truth, and Life online mastery program. And that program is one that we've designed over the years, 40 years of working with clients. And we put together to give you a course of all the pillars of personal finance that you need. Everything from permanent life insurance to temporary life insurance. What's the difference? And why do they keep coming at me, selling me this whole life stuff, right? Is it really what I need? Maybe. But how would you even know the difference? What if it's a trust or a will? It's like, I know I want to protect my family and make sure that when I pass away, the kids get the house and they don't have to pay more taxes than they should and hire a bunch of expensive attorneys, right?
Right.
How do I do that? Should I do it with a trust or a will? What about a living will? That sounds kind of like a will, kind of like a trust, has nothing to do with either of them, has to do with healthcare decisions. So, how would you know that unless you had a place to learn it? And some of us have had, the blessing of parents that taught us a lot. Maybe we have the blessing of a great education financially, or just good mentors in our life. And we've learned the right way, didn't have to make all the mistakes. But if that's not you, and you just want to know what you need to know, to talk to the right people, to make the right decisions, to ask the right questions, the Money, Truth, and Life online mastery program will do it for you. And there are 5 pillars of finance that covers them all. One is the protective part of your life. There's all of the insurances, and not just life insurance, health insurance and property insurance and car insurance. And what if I have a business? How do I protect myself from an employee that goes rogue, right? And what about tort liability? If I get sued, how do I make sure they don't take my house and my stuff? So all the insurances are there. The legal entities, the trusts and the wills and the corporations. When should I incorporate? How should I incorporate? Should I make a partnership? How should I set up the tax structure? All of that stuff that is like blah, 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 blah. I don't know, it'll just basically break it down for you and teach you what you need to know to go get the right help and not make a big costly mistake. And then there's all the cash flows. It's everything you need to know about mutual funds and stocks and bonds and investing in 401ks and 457s and 403bs and all those other numbers, right? It breaks it down so simply. So now, oh, that's a tool. It's just the IRS code number. It's not scary. It's just a number. But here's what it does for me. It grows tax deferred. It grows tax free. It allows me to have an advantage that I didn't have before because I'm using this tool. What tools should I be using? Maybe not the same as my next door neighbor, but what tools are relevant for me? So all of these things are covered in the Money, Truth, and Life online mastery program. And I would love for you to visit. If you haven't been there yet, you can click in there and watch a class or a whole course in any of these areas. And it's really going to help you build your financial literacy. your foundation for making great decisions as you move forward.
Excellent. And folks, please make sure that you also share the website with other people that are kind of struggling, right? We all have those Q&A questions. We don't have somebody to turn to sometimes, or sometimes we're too proud to ask for those questions because we think this is a really stupid question. I don't want to be embarrassed, but it's all there for you. It's free. Take advantage of it. And also, now it's that special time of our show. It's our Money Truth Challenge moment. What you got for us this week? Yep.
Here we go. I've got a challenge for you. So I always feel like if we're going to be, spending 15, 20 minutes or more together, you're maybe taking notes, you're thinking about something that you could do more, better, different. But if you actually take action, I feel like it's time that we spent well, right, together. So what I'd love for you to do is, if you want to really recession proof your future, maybe you've already made a list of a couple things that you can think about doing differently or adding to what you're already doing. But what I'd love for you to do is think about this spending plan issue. So when you're looking at your expenses every week, every month, every paycheck, you have needs, wants, and wishes. The needs you got to have. You got to have housing. You got to have, gas in your car if you need your car to go to work, right? So there are some things that they're not an option. You've got to have it. You've got to have food. Maybe you don't have to have pizza every Friday night, but you've got to have food. So whatever those things are, tuition, if you're in school or you've got kids in school, that's the needs. Then there's the wants. It's like, well, it would be nice to go get pizza on Friday night. We've always done it. It's a tradition. It's a way our family connects. It only costs $50, $80, whatever. But we really don't want to give that up. It's kind of a want. And then there's wishes. Wishes are, boy, it'd be nice to go to Disneyland next Christmas time. It'd be really great to fly out, my relatives, so we could just have fun at the beach before school starts. It'd be really, really great if we could have that big anniversary trip or birthday celebration or take a cruise. Those are wishes. It doesn't mean you can't do them, but sometimes when there's recession, when we're belt tightening, when we're working on our savings and getting more cash accumulated, more capital for the what if, right? Those contingencies that might come, it might be time to create a really great, clear vision for your wishes, but move them out a little bit on the calendar. Maybe, it's not time to go abroad right now and do that big trip to Italy. Maybe we'll wait a year. Let's just push it out a year. We're not saying no. We're just saying wait. And work on some of the less expensive wants. And then, of course, keep the needs going. Make sense?
Absolutely.
That's your challenge.
All right, folks. And if you want to share a little bit about what you're going through on these challenges, please send us a message, and we'd love to address it here on the show as well, too. So we've covered a lot of ground, and I'm sure that we're eventually going to do a second part to this show because there's still more to cover on there, and it's just we're limited with time. So I want to thank you, Judy, for sharing on recession proofing our future. Folks, if you're just joining us, please tune in to the beginning of the show where you can catch a lot of great information, a lot of great wisdom that Judy has shared with us. Any last parting words, Judy?
Make it a great week and do something. You've got this. Recession doesn't have to be bad. Doesn't have to be scary. Just keep your mental attitude where it needs to be and do something.
Awesome, folks. And remember, we're here every Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. Replays on Thursdays at 8 p.m. So make sure you catch us on either day as well, too. And we'll see you guys next week. Have a great week, Judy.
Blessings, you as well. Bye-bye.